Hello homestead landscapers. Today I got a new toy to add to my landscape tools arsenal, and I'm going to discuss it with you today. I hope to show you a couple of features about this mower, which I can't seem to find. I watched dozens and dozens of videos, read features lists from several retailers, and I couldn't find all the information I wanted. I still don't know, till I get it out of the box, exactly some of the specifications I'm looking. I hope I'm not surprised. So let's get into it, and I'll show you what we got. Maybe this will help you make a better decision when you're shopping. So here's what we got. We got the TROY-BILT compact rider, 30-inch deck. It's multi-speed, and it's a gear drive transmission. None of that hydrostatic transmission crap. You know, my John Deere came with the hydrostatic K46, and that thing only lasted me about, by 77 hours, that thing was already complaining. I try to pull a hill or pull a small tree limb like 6 inches or something, and all I would do is sit there and cry. I had to upgrade that thing to the K66 to make it do some real work. So when I ordered this thing, I don't want any more part of hydrostatics. So the first thing I couldn't find when I was shopping, this is all I had to haul this thing home. I didn't want to have to rent a pickup from U-Haul unless I had to. So I put down the back seat and I saw if this thing would fit. And you know what? It did mostly. The back stuck out about 2 inches, and I had to just kind of strap the door closed and put out my red flag and drive slow all the way home. So exactly what size is this box? That I could not find. So let's get the measuring stick and let's find out. So roughly, we got 34 inches wide. So height, we got roughly 26 inches high. So my biggest concern was how long this box was. And here it is, 63 3/4. So once we opened up the box, we see it's mounted on a wooden crate. And looks like the seat, and they got everything nicely strapped together, and they got it covered up, and they got it in plastic bags and well protected. Good job. Good job, TROY-BILT. So this top piece just lifts right off. That's easy. And this packing stuff just comes off. And we got part of the steering column, goes right here. I watched so many videos, I'm pretty sure I know where everything goes. Here's the grass chute. Here we got the seat. That back could use being a little taller, but for what we paid for these things, we can understand why they don't have this. So here's the steering column. Now, here's a question I had. It looks like, see, the steering post is inside this thing there. This is the column. The steering shaft. So see, it turns, but this is a soft rubber. This mower is going to be doing some work out at the front of my property, out by our road, and people tend to, we got a construction site going on at the end of our road, and we tend to have guys just zipping up and down this road pretty daggone fast. And I'm getting cataracts. I don't look as good as I used to. I try to look best I can. but I'm scared to death that one of these guys are going to scare me. They're not going to see me, and I'm not going to see them, and I'm going to get run over. Anyway, so what I want to do, I want to put some flashing lights on this thing, and on YouTube I found that they sell a turn signal, well, a regular turn signal for old classic cars that didn't come with turn signals. It clamps right onto here, and it has four-way flashers all built in. So I can go left turn, right turn, or four-way flashers, whatever's my desire. But this is soft. I don't know if that'll work or not. I might be able to house this in like a piece of PVC piping, that white or gray or even that black stuff. That might be what I'll do. I'll just house it. Anyway, that was a question I had, and now I know. Because in the videos, they never really talk about it. Because nobody had such a cockamamie idea, I guess. All right. Now, supposedly, I found several of these mowers sold by various companies. The rumor is that this thing is built by MTD, and they're sold under different labels. Cub Cadet has one. Craftsman. This is the TROY-BILT. Murray has one. There's a company called Columbia has one. And but a lot of these manufacturers, they have some which are real similar. But by looking real close, I'm absolutely convinced that these, and probably a couple of 2 or 3 or 4 more that I haven't discovered yet, are awesome. So the easiest way to unbox something that's big as this is with a cutter. Just make sure there's nothing delicate in there. Easy as pie. Of course, it helps if you got a good battery. Now, if you do use a power saw to open that thing up, you got plenty of room right here. Here's the edge of the box, so you had plenty of room here. But here in the back, not so much. Look at here, from here to there. So you want to not cut your tire open, so be cautious there. See, it says TROY-BILT. Now here's the hole. See, they've been making this thing. I found videos like 8 or 9 years old. So they've been making this thing for decades and decades. Right here is where the oil dipstick used to be. But the newer ones, yeah, here it is. See, down here. Now it looks like, look here, it even has a fuel filter. The earlier ones, oh yeah, and here's the oil filter. Now there are some models, or older models of this, which have no oil filter, no fuel filter. And I can't remember where this is. But one thing, the older ones, that thing was painted bright yellow. I really like the bright yellow one. Here's your air filter. Look at this, some kind of electric solenoid. Now, keep in mind, this is a TROY-BILT 30 inch CA. Now there's almost every video I found was an R for rider, but CA is for California only. It's an emissions tractor. They all look exactly alike except for the Cub Cadet, which is yellow. No, Columbia is orange. Murray, I believe, is a dark green. It's kind of a pretty dark green, but most of them are red. And so here we go. So let's put this thing together. And there's a couple modifications I'm gonna make before I even fire it up, and I'll show you what those are. Let's get it out of the box. Before we take it out of the box, we're going to need to put it neutral right there. I guess they didn't want it to roll out of the box. I don't know how. Well, this thing does not want to roll. I better double check my figures. Reverse, neutral, and forward. Oh, wait a minute. There's a park. There it goes. All right, well, it's going to be kind of difficult because it's trapped in these. Hey, I might have to use my... Why don't we? Why just grab my winch? That's how it cut out of the Jeep. I winched it right out of the Jeep. Well, let's do just that. Okay, got my winch set up on my John Deere. Whenever you're going to pull on something like this, always pull at the base, because you only got this to this. You get up here, you got too much leverage right here. You could bend this thing over. I don't know if it will or not. It should be strong enough it doesn't work, but that it should be strong enough that it won't do any damage, but you never know. Turn the wheel on this thing. Look at this. It says TB30R. This is actually a TB30 CA. I don't know how I could fix that. Okay, so I flipped up the mower and I measured the blade, and it's exactly 30 inches. Quite often a mower will say it's 26 or 28 or whatever, and that's a lot of times that's the deck. It's like this old piece of shit here. It claims to be a 26-inch cut, but the deck right here actually is 26. The blade is 25 and a half. No big thing, but it's something you might need to know. Now, right here, for some reason, I got a little ear that sticks out. So the end of the blade is going to be inside here. So this is going to add some distance. So let's find out. So what you do, you take a square and put it flat up against the tire, and it made you a mark. There's my mark right there. And make one on the other side, and let's measure. Well, I got to do the back tires too. Well, while I'm at it, I might as well do the deck. So we're right on the mark, pretty much. So that's 30 3/4. See there? 32 3/4. And the front, again, 30 3/4. Now here's something else. With the deck all the way down, that this is exactly 1 inch. The bottom of the deck is exactly 1 inch clearance. Okay? Okay, now with the deck up, 4 inches. So you got 4 inches of clearance here with that deck all the way up. I got a lot of unevenness on my property. Although this thing's not going to cut the whole 1.5 acres. So, alright. And here's the mulching cover. That's what I'm going to do, so I'm not going to mess. Oh! How high is the blade off of the ground? Now my John Deere, I always cut the grass with it up as far as it'll go. I don't, I live out in the country.
Come on, you. Come out of there. There we go. So where's the blade? Right here. Come on. It's nuts. You don't want to turn. There we go. Oh, it's sharp. It's 3.5. So with it all the way up, you're 3.5 inches. With it all the way down, 1.25 inches. So the engine's got this great big fat sticker here saying what you see here. TROY-BILT 382 overhead valve. Okay, so when I received my mower, it had oil in it. I guess that MTD did that out of self-preservation. They got tired of paying warranty claims on dry engine starts. So over the years, this mower has had several different engines. Originally, the 9 and 8 and 9-year-old videos I've watched, they have the oil dipstick right here. It's painted yellow, and I like it quite a bit, and that's the Briggs engine. This one here, now this was gray, so I just shot it John Deere yellow. Makes it easier to see, but you know what? When it's kind of in the shade, it's kind of hard to locate the tube. I'd sure like to kind of paint the edge of this, the rim, yellow to make it easy for me to find this dipstick. But at any rate, mine has a filter. Now, I did come across a video where the guy, he had the dipstick was exactly here, air cleaner was exactly here. It appears to be this motor, except no oil filter. And what model that is beyond me. It could have been a smaller engine than this. Now, I also ran across a video a couple of years old where again it looks like this dipstick air filter, looks like this engine, but the oil filter is at like a 45-degree angle. So that's kind of a mystery. So I'm not too sure what engine that would be. A different model, one of these perhaps, and that's quite possible. And what I was trying to determine, who makes this engine. For decades and decades and decades, different equipment manufacturers, TROY-BILT and Craftsman and Yardman and whoever you could think of, they build their equipment and then they just call up Briggs Stratton and they order an engine right off the shelf and bolt it in, and that's all there is to it. In fact, that's what this one had. That's oh, right here. It's where the Briggs oil dipstick used to be. Why is this engine at an angle? That's kind of curious, but what do I know? See here's the exhaust. See, it too's at an angle. I don't know. That's kind of an odd thing. I find it highly doubtful that TROY-BILT would go to the trouble to building their own engine. And it's not just building an engine, it has to pass California Air Resources emission standard, and that's where it gets difficult. And it takes a lot of really expensive exhaust monitoring equipment to get your emissions correct. So I find it highly doubtful that TROY-BILT or MTD with their 8 product lines would be in the business of building an engine. But because we know this used to use a Briggs. So after digging around this engine and looking high and low and every inch I could find, way back here around the front of the engine underneath the gas tank where you can't see it, I don't know if they purposely put it there where you can't see it, but there's a white sticker, and the white sticker has the model number. And while I was putting a camera back there, getting an image of that sticker, it turns out I saw the light reflect off the engine block,
and I could see there was some letters stamped into it. And man, was it a son of a bitch to get an image of that and get the light just right. I must have took about 15 different video clips. And finally I found the model number and I found the engine number. And it turns out this is a Zhongshan XP380 engine, single cylinder, 11.5 horse. And I went to their website and I got the owner's manual and a parts listing. And so if I ever need to rebuild this thing, I get parts for that too. But you know, this is similar to Briggs. Briggs on their covers, on their flywheel covers, they got a big sticker on here that says Briggs. Who knows, if you were to tear this thing off, I don't feel anything on there. Could be a sticker under there. It says Zhongshan. The specifications for this tractor says that at high, full throttle, high gear, 6th, this thing should be capable of doing 4.2 or 3, I don't recall. So to check that, because when I went full throttle, boy, I felt that thing was going a little faster than that. So I got my Garmin GPS and I carried it with me and I rode down our road. And I got between 5.0 and 5.1 miles per hour. This thing, it really does scat when you're in high gear. Normally I just put it in high gear at idle, and that's usually fast enough for me. I got a pretty long driveway, and that's too far for me to comfortably walk. Oh, I could if I had to, but I'm too fat and lazy. So I ride the mower or the John Deere out there if I'm going to check the mail, or in this case I'm getting ready to mow the ditch out there with my my new Ryobi cordless mower. Now here's my John Deere I've been using. Now that's got a monstrous 48-inch cut on 3 blades, and it does a good job, except it's a little wide. I got some tight places that it won't quite fit, and I'll show you those in a minute. So what I bought this mower for is this fence line. There's 100 feet of fence from here all the way to that tree. There's only 40 inches from the fence where the dangerous slope begins. Now over here, there's another 100 feet all the way to that driveway. And my John Deere is exactly 40-inch track. And so if I rub the tires, my left-hand tires against the fence, the right-hand tire be right on the edge. But my mower, my 48-inch mower deck sticks out farther than that, so can't do it. So this will, with 33-inch wide, I've already been up and down it, and it does fit. That's why I bought it. I've already been up and down these routes to try it. And I'm going to cut some others. I'm also going to give it the task of cutting alongside the driveway. Here is kind of rough, so I'll have the John Deere do that. And I used to use my push mower and cut around the buildings, but I'm gonna see if this can handle it, because I don't want to use it. The whole idea is I'm getting too old to push a mower. That likes to kill me doing that. Okay, so let's start this thing and see if it'll work. But this thing has an automatic clutch. What aggravates me about most of my equipment, the choke, is at the full throttle position. So when you crank it and it starts, you're automatically full throttle. I think that's terribly hard on an engine. You should start an engine slowly. Now in this one, it looks like I can do that. So let's give it a try. Press on the clutch. Sure enough, started it, sets idle. I don't know what that pop was all about. Let's hope that's not a sign of bad things to come. I don't think so. And I got a couple other habits to try to be good to my equipment and make it last. Whenever you start it, give it a minute. It doesn't need 5 minutes or 20 minutes just to run. Give it about a minute, 45 seconds, something like that. Let the oil get circulating, especially with these overhead valve engines. the oil's got to work its way up to the valves and in the lifters and the rockers and all that stuff. And just give it a minute to start. And when you're done and you've been running this thing at high throttle, because that's what I'm going to do, I do the same thing with the John Deere, because they advise to mow at full throttle, but then set your speed slow. And so that's what I do. But so after a couple hours, your engine's hot. It's hot as hell. So when you bring it in, you're ready to stop. Don't just turn it off and jump off the mower. Go back to idle and let it sit. Now this time you can let it sit for a minute or 2 or 3 or 4, just to cool off. I jump off the mower and I'm putting my gloves away and doing the things I got to do, and just give it a minute. Be good to your mower, and it'll be good to you. All right, let's try to let's get out of here. Now, when I was shopping for this mower, I read a lot of print advertising, and I watched a lot of ad videos from different retailers, and I kept hearing again and again and again and again, they kept stressing that this mower is designed for a level yard. And I got the impression that the thing couldn't climb a hill, and the transmission or the drive line was so weak that it couldn't make the grade. So they wanted you to keep it on the flat. Well, let me show you. Now, that first climb I made, that was in high gear, 6, isn't it? Yeah. That first climb I made was in 6th gear, the highest gear at idle. It didn't have any trouble at all pulling this hill. And going down, you want to use a different gear, and it's just like and anything else, you know, the gears, it holds you and controls your descent. And so this thing works great. So the only thing I can think of what this thing does, when you go over uneven pavement, you can feel the chassis flex.
And sometimes if you run into a really deep hole in the back, the one wheel will go high in the air and it'll spin. So all you got to do is lean. Just lean on that side and away you go. But yeah, so this thing it climbs just fine. No troubles at all. Okay, so come oil changing time, there's your plug right there. And look at all this deck right here. You're going to get oil all over there, and oh look, a nice little channel right there, right here. Oh, that'll be really great. Anyway, they give you this little piece of shit to go like this, but from the videos I watch, the guys who've used it, they say the thing, it always falls off and what have you. Nah, forget that. Pretty much every machine I have, what I've done, see, I put a hose on there. See, just pop this thing off and there you go. I got a valve, and you just drain it right into your pan, and there you are. And that takes care of the trouble. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to take that plug out, we're going to put in a hose. So there's my hose. I replaced the plug with a barb fitting. Got a hose up here, another barb fitting, and then I just got a nylon plug, and that'll plug in there and stay tight. And I made it a little extra long. I don't need this anymore, but I got room to come out and clear this thing and go into my drain pan. That's it. Okay, homestead landscapers, I'll see you on the next one. Happy cutting.